Stéphane Dion joins us now. Mr. Dion, thanks for taking our call.
My pleasure, John.
Can you explain to me how you assess the likelihood of an election this spring?
Well, it will depend on the budget, John. We want to look at the budget before to decide. I think it's completely irresponsible from Mr. Layton to decide before. He didn't see the budget and he's ready to go in an election. It's not very serious when it's Mr. Layton because it's very unlikely that he will become prime minister one day. But I am a responsible leader of the opposition, and I don't want to precipitate Canadians in an election for a non-valid reason. So we need to look at the budget.
Were you not unwise, though, in earlier suggesting you may vote against it, you may vote for it, then you resigned to the position, well, now I'm going to look at it? I think people were getting mixed messages from you.
No, but the three messages are the same. We may support the budget. We may not support the budget. We may defeat the government on the budget. We need to look at the budget to know what to do. I think people will understand that. It's not good to speculate on a budget before you have seen it.
Indeed, it's not. But I got the sense from some Liberals that they weren't sure where you were heading on it.
And we cannot be sure until we have the answer. And the answer will be known once we will have seen the budget, when I will have discussed it with my colleagues, and I will come with a conclusion. I think it's the only way to be responsible in our parliamentary system. Our priority is to see this parliament working. But if the budget, it seems for us detrimental for Canadians, then we'll have to take our responsibilities.
Stéphane Dion, leader of the Liberal Party. So the other two issues that loom are Afghanistan and the question of the omnibus crime bill. Do you have the compromise now on Afghanistan that you and the Harper Conservatives can work with?
The government yesterday came with a motion that is, as you know, almost the same than the one that we proposed. There are some changes. We'll look at that. We'll ask questions. We may come with amendments, but I think it's very clear that the government accepted our key principles. The first one is that the mission must have an end date. We cannot have a never-ending mission. And the government came with 2011, what we were proposing. They proposed the month of July instead of the month of February. We are not close to that. We just want to understand why. I guess they have a valid reason. We want to know which reason they have. We want a mission focusing on reconstruction, on development, on security, and on training. And it's what we have in the motion roughly now. It seems that it's the case, so it's good. And finally, we want a mission that is going beyond only the military, because the solution cannot be only military. The solution must be diplomacy, development, and it's what we have. And we wanted to be that the motion would be very clear about the necessity to have accountability, transparency, because this government up to now has been very opaque, very, very secretive in the way the government operated. So we have all this in the motion, so it's a good step in the good direction.
Stéphane Dion, Liberal leader with us, just through his Saskatchewan swing. We're touching base on a couple of issues of import. Now, that third issue, aside from the budget, aside from Afghanistan, the Harper government saying if your Liberal senators do not pass the omnibus crime bill, the government itself will go to the Governor-General and dissolve Parliament. Can you assure people the Liberal senators will pass the crime bill?
The senators will do their job in a diligent way. Just want to say that this move from the government is very childish, because it's the fault of the government. If this bill has not been enacted long time ago, the government play game with its own bill in order to portray the Liberals as soft on crime. But we pushed these bills over the last 2 years. We suggested to the government to fast-track many of these bills in order to be sure that they will be there to protect the people. So the government is manufacturing a crisis, and it has been denounced as such by almost all the observers of the federal scene.
So do you know what the likelihood would be that that bill will be passed by March 1st?
I think that our senators are doing their job seriously, and the government must be serious as well. the government is the one we need to blame if this bill has been so slow to be implemented for the Canadian people.
Stéphane Dion, you started our discussion today by mentioning Mr. Layton and the New Democrats. Typically in Saskatchewan, the Conservatives do very well in the 14 seats. When people don't vote for them, they either vote NDP or Liberal. So what do you offer people in Saskatchewan that is an alternative to Stephen Harper?
A great team and also the good values to develop Saskatchewan within Canada and Canada in the world. We want a richer Canada, a fairer Canada, a greener Canada, and we need Saskatchewan for that. We want to keep the Canadian wheat board as strong as it must be, and this must be the decision of our farmers, not a tricky plebiscite. We almost need a Clarity Act for the wheat board. We need Kelowna Accord, which is the accord that will help Aboriginal Canadians to have access to housing, to education, to health, and this is key for the future of Saskatchewan. We want to bring together the economy and the environment, and if there is a province where you would benefit a lot from it, it is in Saskatchewan, because you have a strong economic growth and a lot of know-how about the environment. So we are not short of ideas. We need to fight poverty in this country. We have a plan to decrease poverty by 1/3, and this will not be possible unless you have a Liberal government. I'm sure that we'll have plenty of opportunities to support Saskatchewan, both rural and urban Saskatchewan, and the people will see that, and they will vote for John Beattie the 17th of March in a riding that is big as half of your province. That means bigger than most European countries. You need a great MP who knows every corner of this riding, and I'm sure that then the support for Joan will be very impressive.
Do you think, though, the fact that you chose her without a nomination, just as you've made another choice now in the Cullen seat vacancy, as you begin, and in Montreal before that, as you choose more people without nominations, what does that say about the democracy inside your own party?
Two things, John. First, I don't abuse of this power. I use it very carefully. And each time I'm using the power to appoint someone is for very valid reasons. It's certainly the case for John Beattie. Second, it is a power that has been given to the leader in a democratic way. It is the members of our party who years ago gave this possibility for the leader to choose a candidate where we need to do so in order to not miss an opportunity to offer to Canadians an exceptional personality that may not have all the networking available right away to win a nomination. And it's certainly the case from John Beattie. She was not part of the Liberal family a couple of months ago, and she decided to join us in order to help our constituency, and because she understands that at the federal level, the values of the Liberal Party is what we need for Canada.
But if you can't have the sufficient network inside a party to get nominated, what does that say about electability in a general election?
Oh, it may say a lot. It may say a lot, and John is an example of that. Some people that do not have the networking within an association of a party, but they are well regarded through the riding, and it's what is happening with Joan. And it's why I'm very proud that she's part of our team. And let me tell you, except for some individuals, she's well received everywhere in the riding.
Stéphane Dion, thank you for joining us, and we'll talk again next time you're through.
Thank you for this invitation. Have a great day.
You too. Stéphane Dion, Liberal leader of Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition. So.